Respect nature, cherish life. Reflections after the tragic Yellowstone crash. This video is a heartfelt reflection on the recent tragic car crash in Yellowstone National Park that took the lives of several Chinese tourists. As travelers, as families, as human beings, we are reminded to cherish life, respect nature, and prioritize health and safety. May those who were lost rest in peace, and may we all learn to travel with more care and gratitude. I'm writing this with a heavy heart. Recently, a devastating car accident in Yellowstone National Park claimed the lives of several Chinese tourists and left others severely injured. As the news flooded social media, I happened to be sorting through photos from my own recent trip, a joyful time spent with family. But as I looked up at the spring sunshine outside my window, an unexpected chill ran through me. Words we toss around so casually, travel, nature, life, health, suddenly felt fragile in the face of such tragedy. I don't know the victims personally, but somehow I feel deeply connected. Among them were probably people just like me, parents bringing their kids to marvel at Yellowstone's geysers, couples checking a long-awaited road trip off their bucket list, or families posing for photos against the breathtaking backdrop. Maybe just moments before the crash, they were chatting about the next stop or laughing over snacks. And then, without warning, fate intervened. When tragedy strikes, people often respond in two ways. Some turn away quickly, dismissing it as someone else's misfortune. Others sink into grief and can't let go. But perhaps there's a third response: to face it honestly, to reflect on the deeper issues of health and safety, and to find lessons that might protect those of us still here. 1. Your body is the starting point of every journey. We often say, the world is so big, I want to go explore it. But how often do we ask ourselves, is my body ready for it? Yellowstone sits at an elevation of 6,500 to 8,800 feet. No small challenge for your heart and lungs. For older adults, people with chronic conditions like hypertension or heart disease, or even young travelers with lower fitness levels, the park's environment can pose real risks. I once witnessed a Chinese woman in her 60s collapse on a trail, her face pale and breathing labored. Her family panicked, unsure if it was altitude sickness, low blood sugar, or a heart attack. Thankfully, some nearby hikers called for help and shared water and snacks, and she eventually recovered. That moment stuck with me. We spend hours preparing travel guides, packing lists, and camera gear, yet how many of us think to get a medical checkup before a major trip? We take our bodies for granted, treating health like a background detail, until it suddenly becomes the main character. 2. Traffic safety is also about health. The Yellowstone crash investigation suggests that difficult road conditions, driver fatigue, and possible errors all played a role. But there's a deeper layer we rarely talk about: the health of the driver. Long road trips test more than just driving skills, they're an endurance challenge. Staying focused for hours, navigating unpredictable mountain weather, and managing stress all demand physical resilience. Yet many travelers push themselves too hard, skipping medication, ignoring warning signs, or driving after sleepless nights. For those joining group tours or chartering drivers, the health of the person behind the wheel is just as critical, and often overlooked. I once chatted with a tour driver who admitted, "I sometimes drive 12 to 14 hours a day just to fit in more bookings." We all laughed at the time, but looking back, it's no joke. Seat belts, driver rest breaks, and physical health may seem like small details, but they can literally save lives. 3. Adapting to the environment is a form of self-respect. Many travel disasters don't come from extreme conditions, but from underestimating the environment. Yellowstone's high elevation, sudden weather shifts, and intense UV exposure are real challenges. Headaches, nausea, shortness of breath. Travelers often brush off these early symptoms, thinking they can tough it out. But the body's warning signs deserve attention. On my first trip to Yellowstone, a friend woke up with a splitting headache one night. At first, we assumed it was just travel fatigue, but soon realized it might be mild altitude sickness. Fortunately, with lots of hydration, some rest, and a slower pace the next day, he recovered. That experience taught me something valuable. The point of travel isn't to conquer nature, but to be present in it, alive, healthy, and safe. 4. Psychological wounds deserve care too. This crash didn't just leave physical scars, it left deep emotional wounds. For survivors, the trauma, guilt, and fear can linger for years, sometimes developing into PTSD, anxiety, or depression. For families of the victims, the loss is devastating. An empty seat at every gathering, a wound that never fully heals. Even for us as bystanders, such tragedies become part of our collective memory, a painful reminder of how fragile life can be. What's often missing in the aftermath is psychological support. Once the media spotlight fades, victims and families are left to navigate their grief alone. I sincerely hope that travel companies, community groups, and online platforms can do more to provide mental health resources as part of their response. 5. Travel is about reverence, not conquest. Toward the end of my last trip to Yellowstone, I saw an elderly Asian couple walking hand in hand down a trail. They moved slowly, pausing often to take in the views, not rushing to snap photos, not racing to the next checkpoint, just quietly soaking in the moment. Watching them, I realized, travel isn't about conquering nature, it's about meeting it with humility. It's not about ticking boxes, it's about feeling gratitude for each step. Yellowstone's beauty comes with risks just like life itself. We can't predict every storm, every accident, every sudden illness. But we can approach our journeys, and our lives, with more care, more respect, and more gratitude.